Welcome, class. Sorry I can't be with you today to help you out with Module 2, Lesson 9, but I'm going to do my best to give you some pointers on what you're doing today in class. Today's lesson is about sums and differences of decimals, but we're going to start out by looking at sums and differences of fractions, because fractions and decimals, as we learned a few weeks ago, are very much related. We can change fractions into decimals and decimals into fractions, and at least most of you can at this point. So when we start adding fractions and decimals, it's kind of the same thing that's happening. There's one downfall to adding fractions, and that is that the denominators have to be the same. So this 10 would have to be the same as that 100. So I would have to scale this up so that both my denominators were exactly the same thing, and then I could add them. But until I do that, I can't. It's like adding apples and oranges. They're not the same thing, so we can't just count them up. So here's the first problem with this. Well, I've got a mixed number, which is, you know how I feel about mixed numbers. I'm going to change the mixed numbers right away. So the first thing I'll do is use this reverse C method. And I remember that 25 times 10 and then plus 3 is the algorithm here. So 10 times 25 is 250, plus 3 more is 253 tenths. So there's my first fraction, and I want to add this time the second one, which is 100 times 376. Well, that's 3,760 plus 77. Oh, so hold on. I'm going to do some work here. 3,760 plus 77 is 3,837. Yeah, I'm going to get my pen back. 3,837. Do you trust me on that? I'm not really sure, so I'm going to do it just so I know I'm not giving you the wrong answer. 3,760, and I'm going to add 77. So let's see, that's a 7, this is a 13, and that's carry the 1, and that's an 8, and then this is a 3. So 3,837. I was right. Didn't have to check it, but probably a good idea to do that. Well, good. So now we've changed the mixed number into an improper fraction on both sides, both of my add-ins. And, well, I still can't add them because these aren't the same denominator. So I've got to scale this up. So in order to change the 10 into 100, I'm going to have to multiply by 10. So if I multiply my denominator by 10, I have to multiply my numerator by 10. So if I do that, it's 2,530 hundredths plus 3,837 hundredths. And now I'm talking about the same thing, which are hundredths. So I can add now. And when I add here, I'm going to get a 7 on the end. 3 plus 3 is a 6. The 5 and an 8 is a 13, and I'll carry that 1. So this becomes 6,367 hundredths. Oof. That was a lot of work. In fact, this might be a lot easier if I just use decimals. So let me show you what the decimals would look like. I'll use a red pen for this one. Well, the decimal, let me get rid of this work over here. And the decimal then is, well, that 25 is a whole number. So that's 25 point something. The rest of it, this 3/10, is a fraction, which we know turns into a decimal. So if there was only a way that I could write 3/10 as a decimal. Well, it turns out that that's the tenths place, and if I put a 3 in it, that's 3/10. So 25.3 is the same as 25 and 3/10. So there's a start, and let's see, and then I'm going to subtract. No, I'm adding here. Yes, so I'm going to add, and what I'm adding is 376. So that's the whole number. 7. I'm kind of too close to the top of my screen. 376, and the 77 hundredths is the fraction part, or the decimal. So 77 hundredths. If there was only a way that I could write the fraction 77 hundredths as a decimal. Oh, wait. Tenths, hundredths, 77 hundredths. Got it. 376.77. So now that was a lot easier than changing from a mixed number to an improper fraction, and then changing my denominators into the same denominators. All I have to remember is how to change a fraction into a decimal, and we've done some work on that already. So now, how do you add these together? Well, you just add them up. You just pretend they're just regular numbers, and you add them. Except for one little thing. Place value matters. Here's another thing. We've talked about a lot of things that matter. And here's another one. Place value matters. Here's what I mean by that. Let me start with this number, 376.77. 3, 7, 6, and 77 hundredths, right? 376.77. And I'm going to add this first number, 25.3. By the way, it doesn't matter what order I add in, because addition is commutative. Doesn't matter what way I do it. So 25.3 plus 376.77 is the same as 376.77 plus 25.3. This really order doesn't matter because it's addition. Remember, yesterday we talked about division, and order did matter. Now it doesn't, it's just addition. Okay, so I'm going to add 25.3. And I just said that place value matters. So here's my decimal point. And that means that the number directly to the right is the tenths place. When I write my 25.3 underneath so that I can add them, I have to make sure that the tenths place in that number lines up with the tenths place in my first number. So the 3 has to go directly underneath that 7. The decimal is going to be lined up. The 6 is the ones place, so I'm going to put my ones place, which is a 5. And the 7 is the tens place, and I'm going to put my tens place, which is the 2. And by doing that, I have lined up the place values. Here's the, now let me shade this for you so you can see them. I know I'm getting close, so I've got to be careful of my time here. But let me move this around. Shade. That's a good shading. Okay, so check this out. There's the hundredths place. Here is the tenths place. Here is the ones place. Here is the tens place. Here is the hundreds place. And the decimals line up, right? The decimals right here are lined up. So that means in our answer, the decimal is going to line up. So when I add, all I have to do is just pretend there's, well, can I put a 0 at the end? Doesn't mean anything. 7 plus 0 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. Carry the 1. This is 11 plus 1 is 12. Carry the 1. This is 9 plus 2 is 11. Carry the 1. And this is a 4. Caught myself. I was trying to hurry. 9 plus 1 is 10. There we go. Carry the 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. So here's our answer. And the decimal goes straight down into my answer. So 402 and 7/100 is my actual answer. But wait a second, that doesn't correspond to my fraction answer. Because if I divided 6,367 by 100, it would be 63.67. Oh man, so what happened? I must have made a mistake on my fractions. Oh, I got to go back through, let's see, 10 times 25 is 250, plus 3 is 253, so I know that's good. 253 tenths. And then over here, 100 times 376, well, that's 37,600. Oh, 37,600. I made the mistake. I thought it was 3,760. So, wow, this really messed up my whole answer. Made me so I wasn't even close. Got to be really careful with fractions. Do you see where the division or the decimal might be a better way to go here? A lot less of a chance of messing up when you use decimals. Well, let me show you one more example. I've got 3 minutes. Maybe I can get through that, and then the second video will be your exercises, which will be a little quicker. You can practice them, then watch the video for the answer to see how you did. Well, let's take a look at the second example. This time it's a subtraction problem. If I change this into an improper fraction, it would be ugly. So I'm going to use decimals. This is 426. That's the whole number. Everything after that's a decimal. So 1/5. Well, how can I change 1/5 into a decimal? I don't have a place value that's fifths, but I do have place values that are tenths. So could I change the 1/5 into something over 10? Well, yeah, multiply by 2. 1 times 2 is 2 tenths, and I know that's 2 tenths. Okay, so there's my first number, and then I'm going to subtract, and the second number is 275. That's the whole number, and a half. Well, I know a half is 0.5. Hopefully you know that too. And so there's my problem. So now I just have to line up the place values and the decimal point. So 426.2 minus, by the way, this time it's subtraction, so order matters. I have to do this one first. Minus 0.5, 275.5. Okay, so I have my tenths place, my decimal, here's my ones place, here's my tens place, here's my hundreds place. And now subtraction. Can't take a 5 away from 2, so I'm going to borrow. 12 minus 5 is 7. 5 minus 5 is 0. 2, can't take 7 away from 2, so I'm going to borrow again. 12 minus 7 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. Where does the decimal go? Well, it's here in my problem, so it goes straight down into my answer. 150.7 is the correct answer. Okay? That's example 2. This is how you do it. We're going to change these mixed numbers into decimals and then line up the place values and the decimal point so that we can add and subtract. All right, check the next video out and we'll practice a little bit. See you then.